Every day, thousands of trains share the same steel tracks, often just minutes apart, at speeds where a driver can't possibly stop in time to avoid what's ahead. And yet they almost never crash. The system that makes that possible is railway signaling, and once you understand it, you'll never look at a trackside signal the same way again. So how do many trains safely share one track? For nearly 200 years, the answer has come down to three ideas. Divide the line into sections called blocks. Lock the junctions so conflicting routes can't be set. That's interlocking. And design everything so that any failure makes things safer, not more dangerous. That's fail-safe. Blocks, interlocking, fail-safe. Keep those three in mind, because everything else is built on them. Start with the physics. Steel wheels on steel rails have almost no friction. That's what makes trains efficient. But it also means they can't stop quickly. A loaded train at speed can take well over a kilometer to halt, far beyond what the driver can see ahead. So you can't rely on eyesight and reactions. Safety has to be engineered into the track itself before the train ever gets there. The earliest railways tried to solve this with time. After one train left, you'd hold the next for, say, 10 minutes, and assume the gap kept them apart. But time tells you nothing about where the first train actually is. If it stalled or derailed just out of sight, the following train would enter that section right on schedule and plow straight into the back of it. The flaw was fatal, and it forced a better idea. Instead of separating trains by time, separate them by space. Divide the line into fixed sections called blocks and enforce one simple rule: only one train in a block at a time. Each block is made at least as long as the distance a train needs to stop, so there's always room to brake. After the Armagh disaster of 1889, this absolute block principle became law, and it's still the foundation of signaling today. But a driver needs to know the state of the blocks ahead, so signals speak in colors, called aspects. Red means stop, the block ahead is occupied. Yellow means caution, be ready to stop at the next signal. Green means clear. On faster lines, a fourth aspect, double yellow, gives an earlier warning. You're 2 signals from a stop, so there's enough room to brake gently from high speed. The first signals to do this were mechanical, the semaphore. A pivoting arm on a post, worked by wires from a signal box, told the driver the state of the line, horizontal for stop, lowered or raised for clear. And notice the clever detail. The arm is weighted so that if a wire breaks, it falls back to danger by gravity. Even this Victorian machine was already fail-safe by design. As electric power spread, semaphore arms gave way to color light signals, the lamps we still see today. Using focused lenses, they throw a bright, clear beam visible far down the track in fog, rain, or darkness, where a moving arm would be lost. The meaning didn't change, red, yellow, green, but the signal became brighter, more reliable, and far easier to control remotely from a distant signal box. On a plain line, blocks and signals are enough. But junctions are where trains cross paths, and where a single mistake can put 2 trains on a collision course. Here a signaler controls not just signals, but points, the movable rails that switch a train from one track to another. The danger is obvious. Clear a signal for a route the points aren't actually set for, and you've invited disaster. The solution is interlocking, making conflicting moves physically impossible. In 1856, John Saxby built the first mechanical version, levers for points and signals, tied together by a frame of sliding bars beneath the floor. If a conflicting route is set, the bars literally block the lever from moving. You can't pull it. Today computers do this job, but the rule is unchanged. Points must match the signal, and only one safe route at a time. Interlocking sets safe routes, but how does the system know whether a block is actually empty? In 1872, William Robinson gave the answer with the track circuit. A small electric current is fed along the 2 rails of a block, holding a relay switched on. When a train enters, its steel axles connect the rails and divert that current. The relay drops, and the signal shows danger. The track detects the train itself automatically. And here's the genius of it. The relay is held up by the current, but pulled down by gravity. So a clear signal needs power to stay clear. If a rail breaks, a wire snaps, or the power fails, the current stops, and the relay simply falls, showing danger. Any failure defaults to the safest possible state. That's fail-safe, made physical. When in doubt, stop. There's a second way to detect trains: axle counters, which tally the axles entering a section and the axles leaving it. If the numbers don't match, the section is still occupied. With reliable detection, signals no longer need a person at every box. In automatic block signaling, they update themselves, stepping from red to yellow to green behind a passing train, always preserving braking room. As networks grew, thousands of little signal boxes gave way to a handful of control centers. Here a signaler watches a whole region on screen and sets routes by choosing a start and a destination. The system does the rest, checking the blocks are clear, throwing the points, and clearing the signals, all within the interlocking's rules. One person can now safely conduct hundreds of trains at once. For a century, that was enough. But Europe had a problem. More than 20 different national signaling systems that didn't talk to each other. So a train crossing a border needed multiple sets of equipment. The fix was a single continent-wide standard, ERTMS, and at its heart, the European Train Control System, ETCS. One system, designed to replace them all. ETCS comes in levels. Level 1 keeps the trackside signals, but adds balises, electronic beacons between the rails that hand the train its instructions as it passes over them. Level 2 goes further. A continuous radio link, GSEMAR, connects the train to a radio block center, the computer that grants permission to move. Now the instructions appear on a screen in the cab, and the line-side signals can disappear entirely. Level 3 takes the final step. No fixed blocks at all. What the train actually receives is a movement authority, permission to travel a certain distance, up to a point called the end of movement authority. The onboard computer turns that into a braking curve, the exact speed it must be at every meter, to stop safely at that point. It watches constantly, and if the driver goes too fast or too far, it brakes the train automatically. No human reaction required. Metros have a different challenge. Identical trains, running incredibly often, where every extra second between trains means fewer passengers carried. Their answer is CBTC, communications-based train control. Like ETCS, it uses a constant two-way radio link, but it's tuned for one thing above all: packing as many trains onto the line as safely as possible. CBTC works in 3 layers. ADP, automatic train protection, is the safety net that enforces speed and separation and will brake if anything's wrong. ATO, automatic train operation, actually drives the train, accelerating, coasting, braking, opening the doors. And ATS, automatic train supervision, watches the whole line from the control center, keeping the service evenly spaced and on time. And this is the breakthrough. In a fixed block system, a train can't enter a block until the one ahead has wholly left it. So a lot of empty track sits wasted between trains. CBTC uses a moving block instead. Each train constantly reports its exact position and carries a safety bubble size to its own speed and braking distance. The bubble moves with the train, so the next one can follow much more closely, completely safely. Put them side by side, and the trend is clear. Classic fixed blocks keep trains minutes apart. ETCS, with continuous radio and cab signaling, tightens that toward 90 seconds on a busy main line. And CBTC's moving block pushes metro headways under 2 minutes, sometimes to barely a minute, without laying a single extra rail. Better information means trains run closer, and the line carries more. But notice what hasn't changed. A flag, a semaphore, a relay, a radio message. The technology transformed completely, yet it's all still doing the same 3 jobs. Keep trains apart with blocks. Stop conflicts with interlocking. And fail towards safety, always. Blocks, interlocking, fail-safe. The same principles, from 1856 to today. And the direction is set. Automatic driving is moving onto main lines, running on top of ETCS to squeeze out every second of capacity. Metros are already going fully driverless on CBTC, with no one in the cab at all. The trains get smarter, the track gets quieter, but underneath, it's still blocks, interlocking, and fail-safe, keeping the whole railway running without a crash. That's how trains share one track. Thanks for watching Learn Railways.